Well, Kay, I'm just keeping myself busy, and I'm still in shock, to be really honest with you. And I can't believe I still expect to see Stephen, you know. And I know on Saturday we're going to send him off. It's going to be sad, but we have to celebrate his life at the same time. And I know he would love all this if he was watching, and he is probably watching from above somewhere. But we have to celebrate his life. And he was a fantastic kid, and all he ever wanted to do was be a pop star. He's from the inner city in Dublin. Everybody down there is devastated. You know, they're going to give him the best send-off we've ever done in Ireland. I think it's going to be very, very emotional. I think it's going to be sad. But we have to celebrate his life as well.
Do you know what's planned?
I just know Boyzone are going to send him off. They're going to send off the best friend in an incredible way.
We'll have to wait and see what that entails, but obviously there'll be a lot of fans who want to pay their final respects to him as well. Are people being invited to come along to the church?
Well, everybody's invited. It's a very, very small church, Kay, and it's right where he was born. It's in Sheriff Street, and the boys are going to bring back the body. They're going to stay with them overnight. They're his best friends. His family are devastated, and it's just going to be, I hope, a great, great send-off for a really, really good kid, a really nice person, professional person. And I think we're going to have, in Ireland, we have a great tradition of great funerals where we celebrate, where we can be sad and we can be happy, and just give them the best send-off ever.
But you decided that probably, on balance, you don't want to speak at the funeral?
I wouldn't be able to do it, I don't think, because I'm blocking the whole thing out at the moment. And I think the boys are going to be in charge of everything on Saturday. They're going to Mallorca tomorrow. They're going to bring the body back to Dublin tomorrow night. We're going to have a private service with just him and us. And then on Saturday is the funeral. And I know later on we're going to have another celebration in London for everybody.
Can you tell me any more about that or not, Louis?
I know it's going to happen, Kate, in a few weeks. And everybody's welcome at that, but I don't have all the details. But Kay, as you can imagine, we're all slightly in shock. We're all slightly traumatised, and it's a very hard thing to deal with because we're not going to see Stephen again. And he was always smiling, he was always happy, he was always the light and soul of the party, and he was the glue that kept the band happy. He was always the person, if there was a row, spoke to all the other boys, and I just can't comprehend I'm not going to see him again.
Can you bear to tell us how you found out what happened?
I found out from a newspaper, actually, Kate. It was after X Factor on Saturday night. I was in my car, and I always get a lot of texts after X Factor to talk about things. And I got a text from an Irish journalist saying, "Jesus, is Stephen dead?" And I was with it. I was like, what would this mean? I didn't know what it meant. And how would a journalist know before me? But then I found out that somebody had actually had called the papers before they called me. A lawyer in Dublin, and I was in shock over that whole thing. It wasn't the right way to hear it. I would have preferred to have heard it from Ronan or one of the boys in Boyzone. So then I contacted them about an hour later, and I found out it was true. And then I watched Sky News. I watched it all on Sky News from the hotel in London, and it was just so surreal.
How have you been coping since? How have the family been coping?
I went to see Margaret, his mother, and his father. And his father's not well. The mother is just in shock. His sister Michelle was Stephen's best friend. They're in total shock. They can't believe it because he was a healthy, good-living person. And I'm keeping busy, and that's kind of distracting me a little bit from the whole thing. And X Factor have given me time off, which is fantastic. So I can't do the show on Saturday. And I'm just dreading dealing with the whole thing Friday and Saturday, but I have to do it.
Yeah. Obviously, we didn't expect to see you on the telly on Saturday. Of course not. You will be with the family and with the band members when they need you. But did you make a conscious decision, Louis, not to go to Mallorca?
Yeah, I didn't want to go to Mallorca. I wanted the boys. They're like his four brothers. I want them to be in charge of it. I want them to deal with it. It's going to be tough enough tomorrow and Saturday, and we're never going to see him again. That hasn't sunk in at all, Kay. It hasn't really sunk in with me, to be quite honest with you, the whole thing of what's happening.
I think people who'll be watching, Louis, there's a lot of people who will be equally in shock at what has happened. How should they be reacting to the stories in the papers about the fact that, you know, he was drinking to excess, and who was this guy who was there, this third guy?
Kay, he was on holidays in Mallorca. Anyone on holidays goes out and has a few drinks. I've never seen him drunk in my life. We always had a laugh. We were at Pride of Britain last week. We had 1 or 2 drinks and we had a great laugh. I've never ever seen him drunk. He was always having fun. But he looked after himself. He was very health conscious, and he was in a good place. And when I met him 2 weeks ago, he told me, I was trying to get him to do Big Brother, the new series, and we had this secret meeting with the producers, and at the meeting he said, I don't really want to do Big Brother. He said to me, all I want to do is I want to do Jersey Boys in the West End, and he was going for an audition in a few weeks, and that's the only thing in his life that he hadn't done that he wanted to do. Don't believe all the things in the papers. Listen, you know what papers are like. They have to write stories, it's their job. But he was good living, good person.
I always remember he was a very happy chap,
yeah,
always
smile.
singing, always dancing, always doing songs from the shows. Jersey Boys would have been brilliant for him.
He so wanted to do that, but he was always happy, always smiling. He lived his life to the best. He fulfilled his dream. He was the little kid from Dublin who wanted to be a pop star, and that was his escape away from his life in Dublin. He just wanted a better life. And I'm glad I was able to help him, but he helped me an awful lot too. I think he helped me more than I helped him, if I'm really honest. And the 4 boys in Boyzone are his very best friends. I don't know how they're dealing with it. I'm talking to them on a regular basis every few hours, but they want to give him the best send-off ever.
And they're going to go back and get him from Mallorca. What's going to happen to the band? Too early to say.
Oh God, we don't know. I don't know. We haven't even thought about that. We haven't even talked anything about Boyzone. This is all about Stephen. It's not about us at the moment. And we can't believe it. We're not going to see him again. We just cannot believe it. And it hasn't sunk in with any of us. So I'm keeping busy and they're keeping busy. But I know reality tomorrow night is just going to be a hard thing to deal with. And then Saturday.
And how will you be on Saturday? How will you get through?
I think the boys will get me through it. I think Boyzone will absolutely get me, because we started off together. I wouldn't be here today only for Boyzone. They got me my first break. And we made it against all odds. People laughed about it at the start. Remember that Late Show appearance? Everybody laughed, but we made it. We've had a great life. And we love music. We love working. This is our life. We don't know I couldn't do a real job, Kay. This is my job.
Yeah, it's tragic, isn't it? Absolutely tragic what's happened to him. Just a final thought. Well, the boys are bringing him back home tomorrow night, did you say? They're staying with him the night in Mallorca, then bringing him home?
No, they're going to Mallorca tomorrow. They're going to bring him back to Dublin. They're going to stay with him in the church all night, because his mother said he wouldn't want to be alone. And they know what he's like. They were like his forefathers, and they're going to look after him. They're going to stay with him, and we're going to give him the best send-off ever in Dublin on Saturday.
Well, we'll be thinking about you. Louis Walsh, thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it. Huge condolences. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Kay.